Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, allow any feelings of tension, stress, or worry to leave your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that with your eyelids closed, you're able to give more of your attention to the sound of my voice, and allow the sound of my voice to take you to a place of calm, tranquility, and relaxation, enabling you to go deeper and deeper relaxed. So relaxed, in fact, that you're able to release any feelings of tension on any muscles in your face, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. As you exhale, release any feelings of tension, accelerating your ability to go deeper and deeper into a pleasurable state of relaxation. And I want you to imagine that you're in a private cinema, just you on a chair, and you can see a large screen in front of you. And I want you to imagine, rather than just watching it on a screen, you're going to experience it in a different way. And I want you to imagine in this cinema is a VR headset, virtual reality, and I want you to imagine placing that virtual reality headset over your eyes so that the cinema screen is no longer a cinema screen, but what you see in your own body. And I want you to see that you're walking outside. I want you to imagine you're going on a walk. And I want you to imagine that you're distracted by the nature around you, perhaps the sound of birds in the trees, the color of the leaves, the smell in the air, and you feel relaxed as you go on this walk. And then suddenly you hear a squelchy sound. And I want you to look down and see, in this VR version of you, that you've trodden on some vomit on the ground. Maybe you can see the color, the texture, maybe even the smell, and it smells disgusting. And you know it's on the bottom of your shoe. And I want you to get the sense that although this is disgusting, it is manageable. You can handle this. I want you to imagine that you return to your home and you take your shoe off outside. You enter the home, and I want you to imagine that there are thoughts associated with that vomit. And I want you to see a dog around you, and I want you to imagine this dog has a voice. This is a talking dog, perhaps a dog that you know. And I want you to imagine that this dog is evaluating some kind of threat related to that vomit. But this dog has a funny, strange voice. Maybe it has a little growl to it. Maybe it's like a cartoon dog voice. And I want you to imagine this dog is attempting to scare you. And maybe they're saying, "You trod in vomit. You don't know what illness that person that vomited had. Maybe the bacteria in the vomit has somehow got inside the house. Maybe you touched your hand on the vomit when you took off your shoes. And I want your response to be you at your most confident. The confident, adamant, direct version of you is then responding to these thoughts. And I want you to imagine you are now playing a game with this talking dog. If the talking dog can get you to feel anxious and to get you to do something like clean as a result of handling your anxiety, the dog wins. If, however, you can give reasons to this dog as to why this is not a concern, that this is something, yes, it's disgusting, but it isn't dangerous. It isn't something that you need to worry about. And I want you to have that conversation until the dog gives up. And the harder the dog tries to try and get you to feel anxious or to wash your hands, the more tenacious you will be in responding to that dog. I want you to play this in your mind, several different scenarios. Feeling more and more confident, more and more resourceful, accepting that something can be disgusting and yet not dangerous. And when this dog finally accepts that it can't influence you into either feeling scared or anxious or to washing your hands, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine you're back in that cinema, putting on that VR headset and then experiencing something else, something equally disgusting that in the past would have caused anxiety. And again, find yourself returning to the home. Only this time I want you to see a brown, furry otter, which also talks. Again, this otter is going to try and convince you that you should be anxious, you should be terrified, you should do something immediately. And yet you refuse to be swayed by this talking, fluffy otter. Feel that your inner dialogue is strong, determined, resourceful. The more this otter tries to convince you, to try and scare you, the more resourceful you become. And I want this to continue to happen until the otter accepts that no matter what it says or how it says it, you will refuse to either be anxious or to do anything in response to that anxiety. And when the otter gives up, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine you're back in that cinema room, and this time with no VR headset on, and I want you to see yourself on screen. I want you to see yourself going for a walk, but looking confident and resourceful. You can tell by the way that you're looking that you're not bothered by those things that used to bother you. You're able to go for a walk and return and enjoy the walk. You seem calm, confident, and resourceful. And I want you to know that you can evaluate things without needing to feel anxious or needing to wash hands, and see that version of you on that cinema screen as a future version of you that is able to enjoy life again, refusing to feed those cockroaches, refusing to give in, and to apply that same level of vigilance to evaluations as you now accept that anxiety is proportionate to the evaluations that you've been making. And you now have tools to disassociate those evaluations, to counter those evaluations, and to refuse to be manipulated by those evaluations. And if all parts of you feel more confident that you can handle the future in a more resourceful way, giving you more flexibility, more choices, more options, reducing anxiety and increasing feelings of confidence and resourcefulness, let me know by nodding your head. Now it's time to leave that cinema room as you find yourself back in the present, where your primary inner dialogue is that of confidence and resourcefulness. You will apply your vigilance at detecting for unhelpful evaluations, and you will disassociate from those evaluations and counter them and refuse to give in. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that you're back in your physical body in the present right now. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling resourceful, feeling free of a burden that has plagued you for a while, and feeling like you can return to life, back to normality. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.